You know what I was listening to today? I was listening to Lady Gaga's Born This Way album, and man, that album is so unserious. It's so unserious, and I feel like everyone took it so seriously, and every song has some kind of voice going Gaga, Gaga. It's just like, what was happening? What was going on with Lady Gaga? Hey Hodies, welcome to my channel. My name is hautemesstom, and thank you so much for clicking on this video. So here's the deal. Here's what's happening. Here's the deal. I have been having a very weird, stressed out day. I've been very stressed out all day. Not really from work or anything. I think it's a number of things. The holiday season is coming up, and I'm traveling by myself for the first time in a really long time this week. And I know how to travel by myself. I've done it before. I enjoy it, but it's just been a very, very long time since I've done it. So I'm feeling a little bit nervous about that. And I'm just like nervous to meet a bunch of new people this weekend. It just is my reality. And so my thought was, since the holiday season is coming up and I'm feeling a little bit stressed out, I'm feeling a little bit like I would never want to put makeup on a day like today. This is like holiday makeup to do when you're struggling to get it up for doing your makeup for holiday. The purpose of this video is not to sell you any of this makeup. The purpose of this video is to talk you through why I would choose this makeup to do this sort of thing. So if you have makeup that sounds similar, those are the makeup items I would encourage you to use before making a purchase of anything I talk about today. But I can't stop you. You can do whatever you want, but just know that that's my intention. First things first, my lips are a little bit out of whack, but I did drink a lot of water today. I hadn't had enough water to drink this Thanksgiving weekend. So I'm going to start with, this is the YSL Lash, nope, Candy Glaze. And this is just the Sweet Pink shade. I do use this one more as a lip balm than I think about it as like a gloss, but it is very glossy, but they're also very nourishing. I'm trying to get my lips together for this weekend. I also am just like a little bit like, I've never been in a desert climate, and while I know it's not gonna be like hot, my concern is dryness. Like my skin has really only been in like humidity. So I picked a lot of like comfort products, that's what I would recommend. Just pick products that you're familiar with, that you're comfortable with. I'm gonna be like incorporating some new things as we do this, but it's actually gonna be more so tools. But first things first, I'm gonna do my face and then we'll finish with the eyes. Look at this. Look what I'm gonna use. So this is the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. In case you missed it, in my last video or a couple videos ago, which was like a video that not like a ton of people watched, which is fine. I'm not complaining about it. But in case you missed it, I did finish up my Victoria Beckham primer, my Cell Rejuvenating Primer, the original one. And now I can focus on this. So I'm really excited to actually get back into it. I forgot how much I love the smell of it because it smells so good. It smells like, I think, like lavender. It does have a scent, so if you're like very sensitive to scent, I don't think it'd be a thing. But the reason I chose this is like, this is old reliable. This is an old reliable. Like, this is one of those products where if I like finished up a primer and I didn't want to buy the Victoria Beckham primer for whatever reason, not that these are priced too differently. This is the like 3.5, 3.7, 3.4 fluid ounce jar. So this one's like the $90 one. But, you know, there are lesser, like, it's just something that makes my skin feel nice, juicy, and plump, and, like, hydrated, and, like, ready for the day, and it just, like, has never failed me. It has some nice gripping qualities. It doesn't feel too makeup-y, and I think one of the things that, if I'm not wanting to wear makeup, if my makeup feels heavier than I want it to be, not that I think any of the makeup that I tend to use is, like, very heavy, but, you know, sometimes there is, like, an extent, like, I wouldn't wear the Surreal Skin foundation from like it's not a foundation that I think is inelegant or heavy, but like it's heavier than I would want to wear. My skin needs a little bit of help. I don't really spot conceal, but I do have this zit right here, which is kind of annoying. I would like it to go away before Friday. I would really appreciate that if it could handle it, but I literally don't know what's going to happen to my skin when I go to Vegas. I just don't know. But my cheeks have been really red, specifically on the top, and this seems to be, if I ever over exfoliate, it's right here. Like, this is where I notice it. It's like right on the tops of my cheek where highlight would go. So I do want to cancel that out a little bit because I am going to be wearing a product that is going to be lighter coverage. So I'm going to just dab that on the tops of my cheeks. I also have some redness like on my chin. It doesn't really bother me that much. I'm going to put some on my nose and a little bit on that blemish, and that's where I'm gonna leave it. Here's a new thing. BK Beauty sent me some of their brushes, like an assortment. I've only used them one time so far. So far, kind of the same thing that's happened to me and the Refer brushes. I like the face brushes, but the eye brushes have not impressed me yet, but I've only used them one time. This one is actually one of my favorites that BK sent me. This is their 109. I believe this is their mini foundation brush. And it's not mini in the way that the handle is short. It's mini in the way that the brush is smaller. So I think it's supposed to be the small version of this. This is their 101. And I love foundation brushes sets like this. But what I like for this, it's kind of like I've turned it into like a color correcting brush. And I'm just like tapping the green color corrector in. I'm not really spreading it out because I just want it to cover those spots. I'm not really looking to like carry the coverage too far. I had a stress dream last night, and I'm not one to like really remember my dreams, but it was like really weird. It was like one of those things where like I was running late for work in my dream. The time on every clock I looked at was different. And so I couldn't tell if I was actually late for work or if I was early for work. It was really weird. I mean, there was a lot more to it than that, but you know how like I know that my dream isn't going to be very interesting to you. I'm not wearing my glasses, so I'm getting a little bit closer to the mirror. So if I dip in and out of frame, I do apologize. So yeah, that's it for the color corrector. And then I'm going to apply the Glossier Skin Tint. This is something ideal for me whenever I want to just it's like no fuss. I wear the shade G11, and what this is gonna do is like not much. And I like that about it. I just want some like evening out of the skin tone. I already covered up the stuff that was redder than this can handle. It never really looks bad because it doesn't do the most, but it doesn't do nothing. The thing that I like about this is that it just blurs the skin. I mean, I just really appreciate like light coverage products that make me feel really good without making it feel like I'm not me anymore. And I think that's something that happens when I'm not feeling, 100% or like super confident or whatever. Something that's really important to me is that I don't take away too much of like what I actually look like, It's just like we're just doing like enhancing today. So at the end of it, I just feel a little bit better, but I also feel glam enough to like go to someone's holiday party. I don't have the stretch concealer, which is what I probably would use if I had it, but the shade I had in the stretch concealer wasn't a very good match. So I'm actually going to be using this one from Surratt, and I don't actually recommend anyone buy this because it's really expensive. It's the Surratt Surreal Skin Concealer, and this was sent to me in PR. And the thing about this is I really like it. It does remind me a lot of the stretch concealer, where it's like it has a nice amount of coverage, but it's also not doing too much. It's not gonna overpower the skin tint too much and like not look right with it. I'm gonna apply some to the high points of my cheeks too. And it's just one of those formulas that just like, it's uncomplaining, I would say, when it comes to a concealer. Now, I don't like to apply it directly to my skin, not because it lifts anything. Just stick concealer formulas tend to not really like my under eye very much. And I don't know, I feel like patting it in a little bit with the ring finger gives me like a little more control over the coverage rather than like bunching up a lot of product under my eye and then like blending it out and then just like having maybe just a little bit of an excess of product underneath my eye. And the other thing is I'm gonna be wearing glasses when this is all said and done, so I'm not really super concerned about like what's happening in my nose area, so it doesn't really matter if it has foundation on it or concealer. Like I might put a little here on the tip of my nose because you will see that. My glasses are gonna rub off whatever's on the middle of my face, and that's totally fine by me. So something that I like to do when I'm not feeling my best is to do a little bit of contouring. And specifically today, I didn't choose my beloved Intuition from Ritual Defeat. I actually chose the Victoria Beckham Contour Stylus. And this is actually the exact reason that I would keep this around, or keep something like this around. You may or may not remember, but this is the one that I liked the most of my contour video. Like the only problem I really had with it is the color of it, but I like how thin it is. I know a lot of people have gripes with the amount of product you get for it. I think that the reason that did not bother me as much as I think it bothered most people is that I used to use a product from Burberry, which was like the same pricing as this Victoria Beckham product. And I love it because it's like, here's me contouring. I'm not going to contour my nose because I'm wearing glasses. Oh, let's see. I think that this will probably also blend out the contour pretty well. Just tap it in. There's no guessing involved with it. It always performs the way I want. And because it is more of a bronzer, well, I don't have any issues with intuition ever kind of looking like a heavy too much contour on me. I know that I'm not going to do that with something that has a little bit of that bronzer in it. I know it's not what everyone's looking for, and it's also not really what I'm looking for most of the time. But whenever I don't want to fuss, oh wow, I really like this brush for this. Here's another video idea, but it would be something that came down the pipeline. So, and I'm not expecting PR from all of these brands. I'll buy some too. So I've been gifted recently both Refer and BK brushes. I have a lot of Sonia G already. I want to buy some Sonia G eye brushes. I would like to buy the new Wayne Gosh eye brushes and maybe the face brushes. It all depends on like how much money I have to like feed back into the YouTube channel. But that would, I would definitely do, I'm not going to do that all at once. I'm going to buy the brushes over time. And then I think, you know, something that could happen like at the end of next year is I could give you like a mega brush video. And at that point I can tell you which brushes I like for what and just tell you the ones that I like the best. The goal isn't for me to have many brushes because I think I'll be overwhelmed having that many brushes. But it's one of those things where if you are looking to invest in your tools, I think it could be informative. Let me know if you're into that, if you want a brush video. Like we're gonna go like brush by brush, tell you everything about it. And then I think I might like that more. So the brush that I typically use, I don't think Mud Makeup makes this. This is something that I got when I was in beauty school. This is the Mud 602 brush, and it was this kind of dense. It worked really well. It worked really well, but I think I like the way that that one felt in my hands, the BK one. I really have been enjoying the face brushes from BK. I think they're really, really good. Next up, I'm going to apply some blush. We're going to do powder bronzer. For the blush today, I'm going to be using Condensate from Phytosurgeons. So this blush, while it looks like that, while it looks like it's like this gray purple, on my like cool toned leaning skin, it's something that looks pretty natural on me. And it's like, it doesn't really fuss too much. Whenever you get the right Phytosurgeons shade for yourself, when it comes to the blushes, all bets are off because truly it doesn't look like I'm wearing a weird color. And like, I think that sometimes the deeper shades from Phytosurgeons will look a little bit, like require a little bit of like fussing and mussing. This shade really just like does it for me. It's so interesting because I would consider this to be like a nude blush on me. Like you get a little of that coolness, you get a little bit of it, but it's not like too much. It doesn't feel like too much. It doesn't feel like I've put on like a ton of blush. And it looks like my skin, this is how my skin would actually flush. I think that a lot of people in the toasted blushes from Phytosurgeons have found shades for themselves like that, where it's like, this blush is just a blush that's really easy for me to wear. I mean, any of their, like even their non-toasted blushes, but like there's something about those toasted blushes where they're just like so honed in. And I've seen people of all skin tones and using them, like not Condensate specifically, but like there's kind of like a Condensate for everyone at every skin tone in their collection. I love their formula. It is my favorite cream blush formula. I will always swear by it. I think it's really, really great. And it's just like, I just slapped that on. I just slapped it on. So I have some color to my face. It's not like completely blanked out, but so like doing lighter coverage with the Glossier skin tint also doesn't really blank out my face. So it's like not like I have to do a lot of work to bring dimension back because that didn't really cover up too much either. So since we are kind of getting ready for the holidays in like the most carefree way that we possibly can, I did pick out a highlight. This one is the Surratt Torche Lumiere highlight stick, and I like to pat this into the skin rather than drag it on the skin. This has a little bit of razzle dazzle in it, but also just looks really elegant. There definitely are shimmer particles in it, but like it's so strange. I've heard people complain about it, and I've also heard people not complain about it. I was someone, whenever I first started using it, I was like, I don't understand this, but it's really good. It's really, really good. They did send this to me in PR, you know, for full disclosure, but this is one of the things from Surratt that I didn't buy that I would buy. Not that I haven't bought things from Surratt, because I certainly have. I bought things from Surratt before Surratt ever sent me PR, but like, this is one thing that I really, really like. I just love that gloss. I love that sheen. I think it's so pretty. My powder routine kind of stays a little bit the same. So I'll start with the Charlotte Tilbury Brightening Airbrush. And I'm gonna put that under my eyes. I have so many brushes to play with right now, and I'm like, should I use an Old Faithful? I'm gonna use an Old Faithful. I'm gonna use my Sonia G Designer Pro. I'm gonna tap that underneath the eyes. I think I might hit pan on this powder like any day now. which is a little bit bananas. Now, I already hit pan on the regular Charlotte Tilbury powder, but that's because I put it all over my face. Speaking of the regular Charlotte Tilbury powder, because I don't want to fuss and I don't want to muss and fuss and muss and fuss, I'm actually going to use the pressed powder from Charlotte Tilbury. Now, you may remember that I've been using the Givenchy loose powder, which I do like. You know, it would be really infuriating to me is if just to powder my face, like I'm already frustrated and feeling some kind of way. The last thing I want to do is use anything that feels super fussy. So like a pressed powder, it's gonna be just the way to go for me. And honestly, I think I still like this more. That's a fun revelation to have. And then I'm gonna finish with a little bit of the Kackie Perfect Blur. The Charlotte Tilbury powder, and I also feel like this powder gives me a little bit more coverage. So it's not like the Glossier has to hold its own 100%. Like I am adding a little bit of coverage with these things, adding a little bit more blur. Glossier provides quite a bit of blur, which I really appreciate about it. But Chantecaille is going to come in with even a little bit more bronzer today. This one was actually a little bit of a surprise. When I looked at all of my bronzers, I was like, which one feels the least fussy to me? It's this one. So this is the Gucci bronzer, and I have the shade 1. I love a cream bronzer. I think cream bronzers sometimes are really easy. I almost picked the Phytosurgeons one, but the reason I picked this one over the Phytosurgeons one, the formula to the Phytosurgeons one is pretty unique, and you kind of have to like work off like the top surface layer of that product for you to really get into it. I think in a holiday look, I went a little more bang for my buck, although you don't really need bronzer in the wintertime. Like you can choose to use it as I do. But like in the wintertime, you know, it's not really the way that it would look, right? Like whenever it's winter, you probably don't really have a lot of sun. And for your face to have this warmth that the rest of your body does not, unless you self-tan, is a little unnatural. It's like I'm not doing full glam, and I don't think that the Gucci bronzer, this shade on my skin tone, ever feels like I'm doing too much. I feel like it warms up my skin just the right amount where it feels like I've done something. I just don't think it's like it overdoes it. And I don't think that the Phytosurgeons one does either. But this is actually more of like a formula thing. Like it's just really easy to plop a powder onto the face. Now we're ready to start doing the eyes. We're gonna bring a little bit of drama to the eyes, but like not a ton. And so when I think of easy eyeshadows, there was like a number of routes that I could go. But what I have really been loving for an easy eye recently have been the Victoria Beckham eyewears in Trench and Pecan. Kackie gave these to me. Since I've gotten them, whenever I want to do a look that feels really easy, they're what I reach for, because Trench kind of works as a base. It doesn't really match my skin tone. It looks a little more camel on me than I think it does on Kackie. Like, doesn't blend right into my skin. Like, it blends into my skin, but it doesn't, it's a little too yellow, which I kind of like. But I also thought, like, either one of the Hindash palettes would be a really good choice to start my eye look, because we're not gonna just do the eyewears, but to just build like a really easy, solid base. These are like just what I've been leaning on recently. Anytime I just want to feature like a beautiful single sparkly shade, it's like these are underneath. They have great longevity. They're just really, really reliable for me. The only thing about them is this shade has fallen out of its tube a couple of times. It hasn't happened to the other one, but now I don't trust it. So that's something to consider, but I've said this before, I've never really met a thin stick product that hasn't fallen out of its container, but I could definitely see that being a reason for someone not to purchase, because like the Sephora collection ones would do that to me when I had them. And I mean, that's, I guess, I don't know, it's not a bad example. I just haven't had too many eyeshadow sticks to compare either. So maybe there are brands where like very reliably they don't do that. That has been kind of my experience so far. I mean, how simple was that? It's just super easy, breezy, really well blended, have some dimension on the eyes, and it took like 5 seconds. And not that I think powder eyeshadow feels like something that I have to work really hard at. I normally, if I'm using powder eyeshadow, I use an eyeshadow primer, and then I set my eyeshadow base, and then I go in with powder, and this is just like, I put it on, I blend it out, it's done. It's done. And honestly, like for what I just did, you could even use your fingers and not use a brush. That would work just the same, which is pretty great. I am going to take a little bit of eyeliner. I'm going to tightline and do maybe a little bit of a smudged out wing with Cocoa from Victoria Beckham. It's my favorite eyeliner formula. It's my reliable eyeliner formula. And then since we were thinking of the holidays, we had to do something sparkly. And this is another phytocertain product. I swear to God. I mean, there's so many products that I could do this with, but much like the Victoria Beckham eyewears, this is a way to do razzle dazzle without thinking about it too much. I have all of the sparkly shades. They have a name. They're the flash fluorescence. I have all of the flash fluorescence shades from Phytocertins. I picked up the rest of them from their beginning of the month sale. And this one's one of the newer ones to me. This one has more of a base. And honestly, I mean, it's not exactly like Space Cowboy because it's a little more beige, but this has like a light champagne base and then the beautiful sparkles in it. And honestly, if you really wanted to do the most, like if you were feeling like layering, topping like Fractal Freesia or Lunar Lightwave over top of this would just give you even more sparkle. Just so much sparkle. And it's so beautiful. It's very simple. I'm done. That's the eye look. Oh, I'm gonna put mascara on real quick. Pick your favorite mascara. Don't pick one that you're testing. Pick a favorite one. Don't pick the one that you're... If you're not feeling like putting on makeup, putting on something that anything that you put on should be a favorite, reliable thing. That includes your mascara. All right, before I put my glasses back on, I'm going to zoom you in. How simple, how very effective, how very easy of an eye look. And then I'm gonna put my glasses on, and basically what's gonna happen is that you're not gonna really be able to see. Well, these glasses are very clear, so you can see kind of what's going on. When it comes to my lipstick, when it comes to the product that I'm gonna be wearing on my lips, I don't want it to be uncomfortable, so anything that's matte is gonna be out immediately, unless my lips are like in perfect condition. But another thing that I want to take into consideration is that something that if it wears off, it still looks good, and I don't have to be concerned about it. And typically glosses do that better, but then it has to be a lip gloss formula that I know isn't going to do that weird white ring around my mouth. And the product for me for that is the YSL Candy Glaze. A new love, a new love. Unfortunately, Kackie has turned me into a monster. I'm going to wipe my previous one, and I'm going to put on this one. So this is the shade 4, which I think is like nude something, and it's like a warm brown. Now, I could put on, like, I think they make a red of this, or like a red leaning version of this. And I probably wouldn't do that just because I wouldn't have to worry about a red lipstick, but this is like kind of natural, kind of nude. It's gonna wear off very nicely. And it's a little bit warm. It looks a little bit warm, but I don't find that it's like a very fussy warm color. Like it looks a little bit orange, but I don't know. I think it reads like very... And not that I would wear it with something where if I was doing like a lot of cool tones, but like if you're doing neutrals, I think this is like a perfectly fine, like a perfectly fine place to land. And that's just the look that I would do. I'm not even gonna spray my face. And that's how I would get ready for a holiday party or like seeing someone in the holiday season when I don't really give a fart. This is like the face of makeup that I would do, or a face similar. So let me know what some of your products that you like to use whenever you don't feel like doing your makeup, but you feel like you should do your makeup. And then like ultimately you feel better about having done your makeup, but you feel better about having done your makeup because you used all the products that really work for you and that aren't that fussy. What are those products for you? I would love to know. And as we head into this holiday season and as the world turns, so to speak, I hope everyone's taking care of themselves. And I know this is Hannah Louise Poston's thing. I know that's her thing, but I hope you're taking care of yourself and also as well as taking care of the people around you. And I know that that's like really hard to do right now heading into the holiday season. There's a lot of expectations on all of us about what holiday culture needs to look like, who you need to interact with, and how you need to put yourself out there at this time of year. And I just want to tell you that it's just December and it doesn't have to feel different. And you're not wrong for feeling differently, and you're not wrong if you don't participate in any of this and you don't see your family if that's not what feels right to you. Just want to reiterate that because I know that this time of year can feel very lonely for some people, and I also know that on the other side of that there are people who are going to likely spend time with people that they would rather not spend time with. People, you know, it happens this time of year. So consider me the person you can spend time with instead of those people if you'd rather that, or consider me the person that you can spend time with if you have no one else to hang out with this time of year. You can watch all my videos on Christmas. You can do whatever you want. I'll be on this platform for you. So just remember that. That's it. If you happen to be new to my channel's a lot about this, using stuff that I already own and appreciating it while being discerning about what I bring into my makeup collection. I do sometimes get PR to review. I do also purchase things specifically to review sometimes, but most of it is loving on what I already have. The reviews and stuff are mostly for the health of the channel, bring some new eyes in. But if you look at a lot of the stuff that I use today, there's pan here. I'm not a project panner either, but there's pan here. I'm almost done with this lip balm. I'm working my way through this Glossier. I mean, it's a newer product to me, but I've used it enough times already since I've gotten it where I'm like, I'm getting good use out of it. So I just would love to have you subscribe if you'd like to. Make sure you like this video, share it with anyone else who needs some help getting through their holiday makeup this year. Let this be an inspiration to you and them. If you would like to support me on Patreon, you can absolutely do so. It's patreon.com/hautemesstom. I do some additional content over there. I will be vlogging what I can of my trip to Vegas. And I'm going to put it on Patreon because I don't really like vlogging content. So you can see it over there. And I will do that for you, patrons. But Patreon is not something required of you. You might not have the money to do it, or you might just want to do it. And that's absolutely okay and valid. And I feel no kind of way about that. But if you've ever been a patron of mine, or you are a current patron of mine, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It really helps make this channel keep running and going. Also, if you like Kackie of Kackie Reviews Beauty, our podcast is over there, and you can check that out over there if you want to. That comes out weekly every Tuesday. I do want to say, I had to talk to Kackie about this, but I do want to say next week, it's probably not going to come out on Tuesday because I'm not going to have time to edit. So I really hope I have a nice time on vacation. I really hope I have a nice, relaxing time in Vegas. Who do I think I am? Anyway, Hoties, remember to follow your haute, and you will find me. I'll see you in a video very soon. Bye. Forever.